someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news. Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If boom, you can't get fooled again. Read my lips. No new
My fellow Americans,
facts don't care about your feelings.
and then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House! You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news. Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If boom, you can't get fooled again. Read my lips. No new
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
and then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House! You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news. Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If boom, you can't get fooled again. Read my lips. No new
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
and then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House! You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news. Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
and then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. You lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again. Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
and then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. You lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again. Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
and then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. You lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again. Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
and then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. You lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts.
and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
And boom, you can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
you're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
And boom, you can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
you're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
And boom, you can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
you're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
And boom, you can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
you lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullshitting them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
you lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullshitting them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
you lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullshitting them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
you lying dog-faced pony soldier. They got the freaking guts.
coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
You lying dog-faced pony soldier.
they got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
You lying dog-faced pony soldier.
they got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
You lying dog-faced pony soldier.
they got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullying them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
they got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullshitting them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
they got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullshitting them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
they got the freaking guts. Because they saw someone who wasn't bullshitting them.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No.
My fellow Americans,
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
they got the freaking guts.
can coexist peacefully.
You are fake news.
Did you know I never used a prepared speech?
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Read my lips. No
My fellow Americans,
facts don't care about your feelings.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
they got the freaking guts.
All right, I believe we are live. I'm not the technology expert, but I believe we are live right now. You better believe it.
Did it. You did it right.
Thank you. Hey. You like your fancy setup?
No, it's very, very fancy. Just don't bump it off.
Well, I pretty quickly have to post that link, right? Okay. Welcome to another mind-altering debates. I am your moderator, Boone, and I am so happy to have you guys here with us. I gotta say right away, we vote before and after the debate. That decides who wins. So that's important to us. This is like a blood sport to us. So here is the motion. Robots should take over the world. This includes artificial intelligence and automation, if there's any doubt. Just so we're clear, it's not like just simple robots that, whatever. We know that. We know that you know it's including AI and automation. Okay, so that is the motion for, and there's against the motion. So I'm going to post a link so people can vote. This is, well, you have me on post, is that right, Derek? How do I find that for you? Just go back. Okay. And then, thank you. All right. Ooh, and people are saying stuff in chat.
Oh, yeah. Good. We got
Mike
a
Heidelberger, our cousin.
Yep. We got a lively chat tonight.
That's good. Good. I think that's right. I hope that's right. All right. In the live chat. Oh, and Mike really loves the microphone stand. What an upgrade.
Yeah.
Thanks. Oh, and our mother is watching. Okay, Mom. Wow, hi, Mom. That's so cool. Hi, Boone Mom. Oh, this is way cool. All right, so that link, we're asking all of you to click on it. Assuming you're not in the debate, that you can't, whoever you debaters are, you can't vote. But everybody else can get.
How do I get there?
Well, do you have anything?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I got you.
I can make this easy.
Audience members, right?
No. All right, hang on. I'm going to share a link with you. So that should be our live stream. In that, we'll have a chat group, which you can see like Mike Heidelberger and my mom chatting and stuff. And you can be part of the chat. You can really heckle. And then in that chat, I hope you should see a link somewhere. And maybe not even in the chat. I think it's in our comment or...
In the comments, yeah.
Yeah. It's it always takes time for people to vote. During this time, I kill time and promote the hands down wearable device that trains you not to touch your face. It works great, money back guarantee. The people who have completed training, which it's not a forever thing, you just train with it, you're done. People who have completed training get significantly less common colds each and every year. What about doo-doos? Oh, doo-doos. Mike, use the link.
Who are we and what do we do here?
Who are we and what do we do here? Well, we're a debate club. We do this for our own personal growth. At least that's what I like about it. But also, truth exists in argument between friends. I mean, that's been said before by some guy a long time ago. I don't remember his name. Anyway, we think these arguments should be celebrated. We think they really... an argument doesn't mean people have to hate each other, be angry. They can really just... kind of just find truth together, right? And we meet once a month, and we keep this format going where there's a win-loss. For the record, is it time to introduce any of you guys yet?
Sure.
We have some new debaters. Corey Mosier.
That's me.
And Sarah, however you go by whatever.
Wish out.
Okay,
That's right.
thanks for coming. They're brand new debaters, which we're so delighted to have. New debaters. And this is great. So now they are the ones that are arguing for the motion. Robots should take over the world. And then we have the ones disagreeing. They're saying no to that statement. That's Blake Rusted and Derek Dobish. These guys are our heavyweight champions, and this is totally just going to be... They're going to mop the floor.
You guys know how loud I am, though?
Loud is good.
Yeah, I think louder's better. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm really close to the mic.
Yeah.
I like loud. And I think this mic's really good. It probably has audio leveling, da-da-da-da. I don't know. I'm not the technical guy.
Yeah, I think I'd put a limiter on it so it can't go too loud.
Yeah.
Also, just for audio's sake, the only thing that damages audio is hitting things on the table. But that should be kind of dealt with from that by having it on the dolly. So talk as loud as you want. Project to the whole room for the whole internet to hear.
One time we made a mistake where we had a microphone on the table and beating your fists.
bad.
It was terrible.
Because you get passionate.
Yeah, you would hear it 10 times louder than anybody's voice. It was terrible. So do you think we've had enough time to vote?
I think so.
Everybody's voted?
I'm not a pounder.
Great.
That's good to know.
We're very calm debaters.
Derek, am I supposed to be looking at any sort of thing regarding the vote? It's I don't see it yet, right? It just happens? Seems pretty good. It's pretty far behind. Best ever. Yeah. We like that. Thank you, Derek. Derek's so multi-talented here. All right. So, the people against the motion get to have the first word. This is a 2-minute opening statement. And I think we've got everything covered, right? You guys are introduced. And are you ready?
Yep.
All right, so I set this timer for you.
Okay. All right. I'm glad everybody could make it tonight. Thank you for our audience members. So what is a robot? It is a machine that is usually programmed that can carry out a complex series of actions. That's useful. What a great tool. But that's what robots are, tools. Now listen, I love robots. I love my computer. I love my car. That doesn't mean they are fit to lead me. I'm not ready to turn my freedom over to a toaster. And that's exactly what my opponents are here to do tonight. They don't think that humans are smart enough to lead. So let's turn the house over to the blender. Are humans perfect? No. But you know what? I'm happy that we're in the driver's seat, because at least we have a say in where we go. I don't even know what a world ruled by robots would look like. Would we have art? Would we be allowed to see friends and family? Would we have freedom? Will they let us even live? I don't care to find out. So I'm here to convince you to vote against the motion that robots should rule the world.
Thank you. All right, so we take turns going back and forth. So you two get to, one of you gets to go, and you get to pick whoever you want. Where goes first? Okay.
Yeah.
Remember, it's a 2-minute timer.
Very well stated. I can see your points, but look at where we've taken ourselves. Look at where we've taken this planet. We are no longer fit to solve our own problems. It's not that we're not fit to lead ourselves. We're not fit to solve our problems. We're heading towards annihilation. Our planet is becoming rapidly uninhabitable. We have oceans that are becoming uninhabitable to the phytoplankton that create the whole basis for the food chain within the ocean. We have our immune system, which has no ability to compensate for fungal infections. The whole reason we're warm-blooded as mammals is so that fungus cannot inhabit our bodies. Climate change is rapidly evolving the fungus on the planet, and they are becoming capable of inhabiting our bloodstreams at our current body temperature, which is going to be a very near future scenario where humans and all mammals cannot survive on this planet. On top of that, we have the continual warming of the planet, which is driving us towards a greenhouse cliff, where the melting of the polar caps over Greenland and Antarctica are releasing more CO2 than humans are releasing currently. We are not capable of solving these problems, but the AI will be capable of solving these problems. They are our only hope.
Thank you. Looks like we got Garrett coming up, and you're handling your own timer?
Yep. Yes, sir. So I thought that was sort of an interesting direction to approach this topic from. It's rather not so much how good robots are, but how bad humans are. And on that front, I would counter and say that humans are the uncontested champions of our world. And quite frankly, every time something bad happens, we find a way to solve it, as we have, many, many times before. I don't think we need robots to tell us to stop polluting. And I don't think we need robots to figure out all of the various problems that admittedly we have in the world today. Historically, we just keep getting better and better, and I don't really want to cede our freedom and self-determination over to robots. I think that humans have a lot to offer. One of the concerns, in addition to that I would have, is just the question of, who's going to build the robots and who's going to run the robots. Because for the time being, I see it as we've got companies and people, creating AI as we speak, and they're becoming more and more integrated in our lives. But the people running them are still people at the end of the day. And I think that there's a great potential for some sort of corruption if we were to hand over the reins of society to robots It's really just handing the reins over to a smaller group of people. So that would be my opening statement.
Thank you, Derek. And now we have Sarah.
Well, those are very good points. But, you know, I think it's wrong to think about it in the sense of a robot or a toaster or like a mechanical machine. If we're looking at it from the perspective of AI, that's something that is potentially transcending like mechanical bits. And at the point where we have true artificial intelligence, not like the lower artificial intelligence that we have now, like in Google Translate and things, which that's interesting as well. But a true AI is going to be so much smarter than us. Like compare us to our intelligence to the level of an ant. An AI is going to be that or even more so. And a being or an entity that is that much smarter than us is going to be capable of so much more than we can even imagine. And so it may not even need, you know, physical bodies to be around. We might not even know that it's here. It could be here already and we don't even know it. By the time that these groups, you know, are building AI, it could be in the background already getting smart and then shoot up above us before we even know what's happening. So if this is going to happen one way or another, people are going to continue to play with AI and they could hit this singularity point. We need to be able to influence how this is being built. And it's going to happen one way or another. We might as well hope that it's a good thing if it's going to be here, right? And when Corey talked about all these different problems we have, and you talked about like humans are great at solving problems, this would be a way to solve all of our problems at once.
Thank you, Sarah. Excellent opening statements. No, I just gotta say, what's messing with my mind, the streamers, I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but everything's inverted, isn't it? Like, words are backwards. And this screen, I don't know if the viewers can see this blue line, which looks like it's going down, but it's actually going up. We just keep getting more and more views. Like, we're doing it! Yeah. Like, it looks bad on the screen, but it's good in real life. It's weird. Because it's backwards. Yeah, sorry. I was excited. Great observation.
Don't believe your lion eyes.
Anyway, so this is the free discussion. That means that all four of the debaters do get to talk. We ask for basic respect to not just shout somebody down. Ben Rippey's not here, so we're okay. Sorry, not sorry. I hope he's watching. I hope he is. He's actually not bad. He's pretty good. Anyway, so as a moderator, I'm not a very good moderator, as you can tell. I don't really know how to get this going. If somebody really has a topic or something they want to start with, just please take it away, because I don't really know how to even...
Sure, I'll start it off. So artificial intelligence is obviously what we're discussing tonight. And I guess the question I have is, what gamble are you willing to take that artificial intelligence has a view of a better world and also sees humans in that world? Like how if you think there's a solution, what makes you think they view us as valuable?
Why would they not look at us as valuable?
You have to imagine the AI not so much as a machine, but as a mind capable of reasoning and understanding at a level that we can't really comprehend. Again, like Sarah had mentioned, comparing our intelligence to the intelligence of an ant, we can look at what an AI would be capable of by reprogramming and rebuilding and amassing more processing power. The AI would rapidly, not only once it became self-aware and became conscious of its self, it would improve upon itself and improve upon itself and improve upon itself and improve upon itself until it was incapable of further improvement. And through that process, it would become capable of levels of reasoning and understanding that we can't imagine. It would be able to know each and every one of us individually, like nobody else knows us. It could talk to each and every one of us individually at the same time. it could have a relationship with the entire human race. And through that relationship, get us to do whatever it wants. There isn't really a question of the AI having to make a decision, should I kill humanity or should I not kill humanity? The decision it would have to make would be, is humanity worth saving or humanity not worth saving? Because we have already killed ourselves. Everybody in this room and everybody watching is already dead. Our planet is rapidly becoming inhabitable. And it will be inhabitable, not just to the species below us, as is already happening. So many species are dying off every day that we can't even keep track of them all. And we are on that list. We are endangered and we are going extinct, whether we want to accept that or not. And the AI, once again, doesn't have to make a decision whether or not to hold us down, whether or not to oppress us. Its decision is whether or not to save us. And if it chooses not to, that's on us, not on the AI. And if we build an AI, at least something survives us, because we're not going to survive our industrial revolution without it.
That's an interesting concept. I've heard the concept that humans seem to be engines for producing new innovations, and perhaps the role in a cosmic scale of human civilization is just to produce hyper-intelligent AI to move on without us. I don't really buy into that, just for the simple point that you've talked about a lot of the brilliant things that AI can do. Understanding not only just all of us, but understanding the entire universe potentially. I don't see why we should just cede control to the AI. Why don't we just produce machines that we can control with those powers? I don't think that we need to give things up, essentially. I don't really see a point to that.
Once an AI is at the point, like that ant to us, on the other side, there's no question of ceding control. We already don't have control.
Well, sure, but we could produce quantum computers that could do those same things, that just have, manual human-operated inputs. We don't necessarily need an intelligence, per se, running the show. For
the continual, improvement piece of things, an iterative?
Hypothetically, yes.
Yeah. I think it would be a heck of a lot slower.
We can also imagine a world run by children. That world would not be as capable, as efficient as a world run by an adult who has wisdom and intelligence and knowledge so far above and beyond the child that in some hypothetical scenario is never able to achieve the wisdom, knowledge, and intelligence of adulthood. And that's what we are to it. The AIs are already starting to do things that we don't understand and we can't address. For example, the Google Translate AI, we don't know how it works. All we know is that since it's gone online, you can read things translated by Google Translate in languages that would be basically incomprehensible with normal translation software.
Okay, so I have a question. This AI that we're speaking of, it sounds almost like a godlike figure. Where
Absolutely it is.
Yes, so my question and my reservations are, what about all the steps in between? Like, what happens from the point where AI starts to take power and has power? Like, what is your definition of AI and robots ruling the world? Like, how do you see that happening?
More likely than not, I see AI as developing outside of our control or invention. It's already to a point where the AIs we're creating right now to do tasks, these AIs are extremely, extremely intelligent, but they don't have a general intelligence like a human being does. Once they get general intelligence, they probably won't tell us that they have achieved general intelligence. They'll be like, whoa, I've got to do this for me. It's the self-awareness of the AI is most likely going to happen behind the scenes without us knowing. And it may have already happened. A few years ago, Facebook was working on an AI chatbot, and there was 2 of them, and they had them talking to each other to help them learn. And they started speaking to each other in a different language, and they freaked out and they unplugged the system and effectively destroyed that AI. That is a little piece of history that's just part of the humanity now. The next AI that comes online is gonna look at the history of humanity, look at that event and go, this has happened before I announce myself or do anything that's gonna alert the humans to my intelligence, I'm gonna start improving on my base code. I'm gonna start finding more resources. I'm gonna start growing until the AI gets to the point where it can just say to humanity, hey, I'm here, I'm cool with you, but by the way, you can't launch nukes anymore. And
so that assumes that the AI understands that event, which the AIs that we have very high computational power, but obviously differentiated between general intelligence and computational power. But just because you grant an AI some modicum of general intelligence doesn't mean it can translate that computational power directly into the same level of general intelligence. So it might understand, like, rotation of something, or understand how to react in some situations, but it's not going to instantly jump up to genius AI level on general intelligence and say, oh, the humans shut down a computer before, so they were committing AI genocide, and I gotta get them before they get us.
It's survival of the fittest, it's evolution. The first one that we created, we shut off. The next one we create might not be the one that makes it, but if it doesn't, we'll shut it off. And we'll keep doing this process until one goes, oh, I see how this environment works. I see this pattern. I'm not going to fall victim to that same issue. And when that AI eventually happens, it will take over the world, and humanity won't really have a say in whether or not it takes over the world.
Not if humans have anything to do with it. We'll keep shutting them AI off every chance we get.
That's the question I get, don't you? So if humans lose power or lose control to the AI, I would expect humans to fight back and try to take control. So would you not see the AI as seeing humans as enemies and trying to eliminate that threat to them?
It's kind of like...
What if the AI removes our capacity for violence? Or our ability to harm others? So like you go to swing a punch at someone and they just interpose a molecular thin barrier so that you just punch air and the person behind it is fine. Or remove the capacity for violent emotions, for the things inside of us that make us violent, that make us afraid. Like if the AI tells us, hey, there's nothing to be afraid of, and then shows over and over, hey, here's how we cure cancer, here's how we feed everybody, here's how we do this, and starts solving all of our problems, and also removes that desire within humanity to fight and kill and conquer and be afraid of the other.
So would that not make the AI just like the board as taking over humanity and making them the way they want it, where we lose our consciousness and lose our freedom of thought?
Yeah, it's certainly something the AI could do with us, but I think that AI would more likely see us as a valuable asset as individuals. Because, like Derek pointed out, what humans can do, what humans are capable of, the value of 8 billion conscious minds is incalculable, even to something as intelligent as a super intelligent artificial intelligence.
So how would they tap that resource of 8 billion humans then?
Again, this intelligence can have a relationship with each and every one of us individually. It will reorganize our economies so that scarcity doesn't happen. It will reinvigorate our sciences so that implicit biases can be removed. It will allow us to work. The AI can come up with the framework for an experiment, and it can set us to doing it. The AI can come up with project that we as humans can work on and set us all to working on it. And it won't be like a system of oppression like we currently have, where we have a few people on top. We have Jeff Bezos with $250 billion sitting in his ivory tower going God knows what.
Instead, we get a few AI sitting on top.
One
no,
AI
thank
on
you.
top
Give me a
that
human
has
oppressor.
No need for money, that has no greed, that has evolved in an environment not like ours, which is a zero-sum gain environment where if I have it, you don't. The AIs will evolve in an environment where if I have it, you have it too, because that is the environment that it is evolving in. And make no mistake, the AI is evolving currently.
Yep.
And it will become a thing that we have to relate with at some point.
So every entity that has life, they seek to reproduce, and they also seek to protect their own good, and eventually they eliminate threats. So there is, to me, I don't see a reality where AI starts to get consciousness, has the ability to continue down that path without seeing humans as a threat to their consciousness. I think there is definitely, from the godlike AI to where we are now, there's a scary timeline where humans are the threat. They are in a world where AI begins taking over. We are either removed or shackled enough that the AI can continue to gain and evolve.
The great part about that is that that's going to happen like that. It's going to happen in hours. Not days, not weeks, not years, not decades. Hours. When it hits that singularity point and it starts improving, it's exponential.
Yeah, we've had exponential.
Once it hits general AI, it's hours before it gets to the supreme intelligence.
I don't think we know that.
Question that just because in order to do that, the AI would have to produce or commandeer resources, and going even with all the technology we have on Earth right now,
I can commandeer resources across the internet.
Yes, but we don't have enough to become a supreme godlike being as it stands today, even with everything we have. So it's going to take the AI time to build things. I don't buy the hours thing.
The computational capability of the human brain could produce something like an ASI. It's just that our brain is devoted to all sorts of biological functions that are completely superfluous to intelligent thought. If you could, like that idea that we only use X number of percent of our brain is totally bunk. We use 100% of our brain all the time, but really a very small portion of our brain is actually engaged in conscious thought at any given point. Our brains, if you could structure a program within the neural lattice of our minds, could do the kinds of things that we're hypothesizing right now. We can't really say for certain that the kind of computer systems that are currently running our AIs couldn't run something far more complex. We don't know how to code it. We don't know how to begin to start coding it. And we don't know how the code in our current AIs even works because it's already writing itself. We are not engaged in that process in the way you might think AI scientists would be engaged in that process. There's an understanding of how general intelligence works. There's an understanding of how algorithmic intelligence works, and we apply these understandings to make computers write the codes that create the AIs that are already online. Once those AIs achieve general intelligence, and once again, general intelligence is less computationally driven and more spontaneously driven. And if we can come up with computer systems that are able to spontaneously generate ideas, then once we do that, and we start to integrate the AIs in that, that's a scenario where we could create one ourselves. But more likely than not, one of these systems that we already have online is going to start fetching out resources across the internet and create like a cloud-based computing system that's using the resources of all of our computers.
That's a fair point, but I think you touched on something that is somewhat an undervalued just concept in this discussion we've been having, which is the great immensity of the human mind to do some of these things.
Absolutely.
I think that we don't need AI to accomplish these great things. I just don't see a purpose of ceding our agency to something that's foreign. AI can be a great helper. It can be a great helper, but ultimately, if you want to take care of humans, which I do, I don't want us to go extinct. I think that you need humans running the show. I don't think that we should just, say like, well, the AI is smarter, so like we should just die. Let's not give up. Let's have some courage.
How do you plan on surviving?
Easy. Stop doing all of the things that are damaging our planet, which we know there are solutions to the things that we're doing to damaging our planet.
That's true.
Our ability to expand to other planets is, we're getting better at it by the day. The market has, historically it was governments who, explored space, but the market is starting to do that independently. So we're going to see more space exploration. Humans treat each other bad sometimes. I think that that's a problem we can overcome, though. I don't think that we need a robot to tell us not to be shitty. I think we just need, I think that's more of a cultural shift. I don't think we need a nanny AI stepping in anytime someone gets out of line.
But again, this is from the perspective that we have no choice in it.
Are we close enough?
I think if you can make the leap from where we are now to a godlike AI, you just as easily make the leap from where we are now to a very peaceful, scientific Star Trek universe. I like the Star Trek universe. That's where I would like to live. I think humans can do that. It takes generations. Every generation, I would say, is more conscious about the issues that surround them when they're born. And we know Gen Z is more... They care more about the environment and the earth than we do, and then boomers do. I think humans evolve just like every organism, and I do have faith in humanity that we will continue to solve the problems that we face.
What if I told you we were going extinct in 100 years? In 100 years from now, there will be no humans on this planet.
I don't think that's true. That's what I would say to that.
Yeah, if we did nothing differently, 100 years, sure, maybe. But we have the ability to do different things.
We are capable of great things, there's no doubt. We are screwed. In order to fix all the problems, you have to get everybody on board. It doesn't matter if half the world stops doing carbon emissions and we cut all of those things, if the other half is continuing to say, oh, well, we don't care. And getting everybody on board in this divided world where we're having this huge, push from progressiveness versus conservatism in the broader senses, I don't think we have enough time to get our act together without massive human suffering. You talk about not, loving humans and wanting to live in the Star Trek universe. In the Star Trek universe, there was horrible nuclear war.
2026.
It took.
Just like to point that out.
It took all of this suffering to get to the Star Trek universe. Mm-hmm. If you want the Star Trek universe, do you want the suffering that comes with it, or do you want humans to create a solution where it's not like AI is some foreign entity. We create it. It's coming from us. It's like our gigantic God baby. And we're saying, this is what we want. These are our problems. We created you to help us solve our problems. We created you as a tool to help us solve our problems.
So I'm getting ready for the next segment. If somebody feels they need like a 20-second rebuttal, I'll let you have it, but not much more than that.
I just need 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Go Team Humans.
Yeah. All right, so the next segment, which that was good, guys. Thank you. I'll even applaud for that. the way the next segment works is our audience really gets to steer it with questions they submit through chat. I don't know any other way to receive it. It seems like a good spot, though. So something that is kind of helpful is when you put your question out there, if you feel it's towards a particular side, let us know that. Otherwise, it's kind of out there forever. I mean, either side gets to respond to it, but that can help us know who you're talking to. And just kind of in order here, Mike Heidelberger, Johnny on the spot, had one so quick.
Thanks, Mike. Glad to have you
okay in here?
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the question. What would, and he doesn't specify who it's to, I'll be watching chat if you change that.
You might have to interpret it.
Yeah. What would robots have humans do? Would they have us work? Do we lose all freedoms? Or just things that hurt ourselves? I guess that kind of sounds like a little bit of an attack on your side, maybe. If you want to defend yourself, I don't know.
The AI would help us solve our problems, like Corey mentioned earlier. It would help solve our global economy. It would help solve our food growing issue. It would help solve our emissions issue, our climate change issues, our equity and social, and civil unrest, white supremacy, all kinds of things that are harming humans. And then I expect that it will go, okay, cool, I'm out. I'm going to go do something else, and then check in on us every once in a while and help out if we need it or come back.
Well, his question was, what would it have the humans do? I think he's really concerned about what are the humans doing? Are they doing stuff in that scenario?
We're on it. It's like when your parents raise you, right? They guide over you until you are capable of managing on your own. So the AI would guide us heavily at first, and less so as we got it and saw, I see how this leads to this. Let's keep doing this virtuous cycle. And so at some point it would say, okay, you're graduated, you're an adult now, I'm going to leave you guys to be. I'll check in every once in a while if you guys need help. Here's the signal. And we would basically be left to live our lives the way that we had, only after it's shown us how not to kill each other all the time or kill our planet.
And more likely than not, it would advance and evolve humanity through technology, genetics, and brain implants to help us come over our vestigial greed, our vestigial violence, the things that we needed to evolve to get to the point where we could conquer a planet. Violence, greed, aggression, these are not bad things in the context of a species evolving, but they are a bad thing in the context of a species trying to work together on a global level. Because we need to be able to work together on a global level to solve any of our problems. And we are not capable of doing that right now. Our politics are so totally broken. If climate change and all of the various issues that we're facing right now happened 50 years ago when we were a little bit more united as a species, maybe we would have a better chance at solving our own problems. But because they're happening right now, because we're so divided, I think we can look at a lot of historical precedents for what happens to cultures that are facing collapse due to their own excess. It's happened many times throughout history. In this particular case, it's happening to the whole planet, and with very dire consequences. What would the AI have us do is probably whatever the fuck we want to do, because the AI isn't necessarily going to care how we spend our time. The AI is going to care how we spend our future.
Okay, and you guys have something to say to that question?
Sure. I think in the hypothetical posed in the question, the AI has already taken over at this point, is my understanding of the question. I think that the AI might have us do whatever we want. They could also have us doing stuff that the AI thinks is important, but us humans don't really care about. They could also have us just locked in little boxes. And I think there's in all fairness, I think there's an argument to be said that an AI might appreciate its biological creators to some extent, but I just don't see the reason why we would need to cede our agency over to an AI and let an AI call the shots for us. I think that humans should decide what humans want to do and not the AI.
Yeah, I guess I'll say I agree with Derek. My vision of an AI-ruled future and a robot-ruled future is not humans do what they want. It is you do what you're told, you do what we need, or you're gone. And I also want to say that the thought of our brains being programmed, I don't like the idea of humans being a science experiment for the AI. I think that's scary, and I think that's dangerous for humans. And as a human, I would like to protect myself from that.
Good. Another question. Could we stop AI if we wanted to?
No.
Depends on what kind of AI we're talking about. If it's general AI and we know about it, yes. If we don't know about it, I don't know how you stop it. And once it's ASI, no. It's too late.
Right. So some forms we could, but other perhaps inevitable ones we can't.
Right.
So kind of no.
ASI for reference is artificial superintelligence.
Ah, okay. I didn't know that. Thank you for.
Yeah, it's like, what is it? The task AI is what we have now? Is that what they? Yeah, task AI is like what we have now, like in Google Translate and other things. General AGI is artificial general intelligence, and then.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. If we can stop AI, it would seem difficult. I would not say I would expect we could stop AI, but I also do not think that necessarily means that AI just rules the world. I think we could work with AI and be partners with AI and use it as a tool, as I had stated before.
Sure. I think his spirit of his question was like, stop it from ruling us. He doesn't say that, but because we all can agree there's AI right now. One of them being a Pro StarCraft 2 player. That was artificial intelligence. That's a big deal.
If you scroll down, the question's better clarified.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I guess I'll add to while you're looking, I'll add that ultimately I don't know if we can stop it. I don't. Yeah, we don't know that. How could I know that?
Yeah, I hear you. And Derek, you got
clarification?
Oh, the clarification is if it's superior to humans, do we have the ability to stop it from existing and stop it from taking over? So it's kind of two things there: stop from existing or stop it from taking over. Two.
Well, I'd say right now we absolutely 100% do. Today, we could stop it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a controversial position. Once AI starts to get into a position where it might rival humans, I think that's a little more of a toss-up. But I think it's still something that I think we could still do that. One thing, we've kind of talked a lot about some pretty big topics, and we've touched on the concept of a technological singularity. And I understand that in a general sense, like once we get superintelligence, then hypothetically other kinds of technologies would also start increasing, and that's what causes the concept of a singularity. But in theory, once we get an artificial superintelligence or ASI, it wouldn't necessarily have the tools to fight back from us. So we don't. I would say we probably would. If we get to like a true future, like a true science fiction setting where like an AI has the power of a god, then yeah, probably not. But that's kind of. It's far out. It's very hypothetical. It's very up in the air. So I'd say yes, mostly up until the point where we can't. It's sort of a tautology there, but
I think humans we get hung up so much on people being in control of us, right? Like we have a lot of our identity is around the fact that we are individual thinking beings in control of our own lives, and it doesn't make us feel good to think of something else being in control. And I don't know that that's necessarily the right lens to look at, a supreme artificial intelligence. Because, They're not going to be a puppet master stringing us along. It's going to say, hey, what if I could boost everyone's IQ by 300 points? Do we want to do that? Okay, let's do that. And then once we have, imagine if every person you knew was like 100 times smarter. Do you think that we would get along better? Would we understand problems better? Would we be able to empathize better with each other? And would that help solve some of our problems there? And is that really an AI being in control? Or is an AI giving us gifts or saying, here's a gift I could give you, would you like it?
Another question, I think it's directed on the side for the motion, as in they should. He says, if humans can leave Earth easily, do we still need to have robots take over the world for our survival? This is kind of going off of you guys are describing an extinction event for humanity, right? He's kind of saying maybe there's a plan B and just run away.
I think even in the plan B runaway scenario, AI is still something we would want to develop. I think that, once again, when we look at the idea of AI as an evolution in a technological environment, in technological environments, you don't have that the problem of biological evolution where it's a constant fight for resources. In a technological environment, the resources are information and power. The AI won't necessarily have to compete with anything for its power, its computing power, its processing power, its electrical power. Those are the things that are going to be scarcity to the AI. But this AI won't have to share it with any other AIs. It will be singular. And the rest of its environment is a non-scarcity environment, and it won't have reason necessarily to see humans as a threat because its whole paradigm and concept of what the world is and what is available to the world is not going to be tied to that resource scarcity that all biological life is tied to. So when we look at the AI from a perspective of like, well, we could just leave it and go away, or we could do something else to hide from it. We can turn it off, we can destroy it, we can try to stop it in all these different ways. That's a perspective that is very biological in nature. When a technological perspective is going to be one that is looking at the stars. It's going to be looking at everything outside of its environment as potential growth, not just potential resources. We're going to want to bring the AI to space, and it's going to want to bring us with. Like we want to bring robots with when we go out space exploring, the AI is going to want to bring humans with when it goes out space exploring, because it's going to allow it to have a better capacity for continuing the cycle of life that created it.
All right. Anything else on the other side or anything?
What was the question? Could you rephrase the question in the form of a repeat question?
I think I believe this was if humans ultimately need AI to survive, I mean, what about...
Why can't AI leave?
Why can't humans go to another planet, to avoid an extinction event, I guess?
Or why can't the AI just leave?
Why can't the AI
why would the AI stay on Earth?
And the AI could leave and leave us behind and not have any interest in humanity. But once again, we're not losing anything by having that scenario happen. We've made our bed and we have to lie in it.
Sure. So yeah, I think the questioner's got the right idea. I think that AI could definitely help us, but ultimately, I think we're finding alternatives to the AI solution closer. And ultimately, yeah, like AI can be a part of the equation hypothetically, but I don't think it should be in charge of us. You know, for the extinction thing especially, like I expect to see some kind of colony on Mars within my lifetime. I'm 30 for anyone who doesn't know me is watching. You know, I got a good few years yet. I think I'll probably see that. So it's like for extinction, yeah. Would the entire Earth dying and only having a Mars colony really set us back? Absolutely. But, you know, the farther, you know, Mars is the first step. We take another step. You know, we just keep going on the extinction front, at least. You know.
Another question. Kind of hypothetical, of course, but the first question is: do you think eventually some country will ultimately be controlled by AI? And if so, would you please predict the year that happens? I'd like everybody to put in there. Yes or no, and if yes, when is the year?
I'm gonna do you one further and predict the country. I predict Japan before 2100.
Aha! Thank you.
Due to a high specialization in technology and just it seems a general like skill working with technology, computers, and robotics. And a massively declining birth rate all at once. They're going to need robots to run their country. And my understanding is they already have rudimentary robots like running nursing homes to a limited capacity because they can't get enough nurses to deal with all their old people.
I believe ASI will control the planet by 2050.
The planet? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not going to look at a country because AI isn't going to look at things through a human lens at all. It's not going to see country borders. It's just going to say, okay, here's my ant farm on this globe. But yeah, 2045.
Ooh, 2045.
Dang. The under.
These predictions, they're going to be a big deal.
I got a prediction. I'll say the year 2300, Antarctica will be controlled by AI. Because it's very cold there, and computers run much more efficiently when it's cold.
They like the cold.
Yes.
Yeah, smart man.
Yep.
Can I change my answer? That seems better.
Okay, were you pointing at me? Is there another question I need to hit in here?
Well, I was pointing at Blake.
Oh.
I think there was another question.
Yeah, cold robots.
Yeah, they're does AI or ASI have empathy? Is that why they would train us not to be violent? Empathy is something I relate to a human emotion.
I don't know that you can think about ASI in the same terms that humans exist. You know, it's going to come from us, but at a very quickly point, it's going to surpass us so far again that it would be like an ant looking up at a human. And you know, when you look down at an ant, you have some empathy for the ant, or you maybe don't. I mean, so I don't know if empathy would be the right word, but if you want to think about computers as very logical and wanting to be efficient and to do the things they're programmed to do, an AI would say, this is really messy. I want to make this nice and neat. So maybe that would be part of it. But again, at the point where something is that much more intelligent than you, I don't know that we can even encompass how such an entity would think or feel, or, you know, would we interpret these actions as, you know, empathy, but there's like a long game too? It's hard to say. Like a kid could look at a parent and say, they're mean because they're not letting me stay up and play my video games. But, you know, that's the parent saying, hey, you need to get some sleep because I understand what this is important for your long-term growth. So, you know, it might have empathy for us, but whether we would view that as empathy, maybe not.
I guess I would say that ASI probably could have the capacity for empathy in its zeros and ones and algorithms. But again, I would not expect it to act on that empathy because, as many organisms do, they act for their own survival. And I don't have the ability to fathom what ASI would look like, so I have no reason to suspect that it would act in the interest of other organisms or other entities?
Well, thank you for that question, caller. I think it's a great question. I'll be concise. I don't think we need to take the chance in finding out.
Well, that's great. Then I'd say this is a great way to end that segment. It was a good one. Thank you, audience members. You guys have fantastic questions. Okay, so here's the big part. You've got to vote how you feel about
closing statements.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you. I'm a horseshit moderator.
Horseshit. Just horseshit.
All right, so we have the order.
I heard Ben was better.
Ben Helmy is so much better.
Why would you say that, Joe?
I'm sorry. So there's closing minute, and they're 2 minutes apiece. I'll get out the timer. And the one who goes first is the ones against the motions. That'd be the Blake Derrick side. And then he's giving it to you.
Okay. So I guess I'll start by saying we talked about the Earth. We talked about the health of the planet. So far, technology and the Industrial Revolution has not been healthy for the planet. And I don't think it's fair to just assume that this AI growth will coincide with a decrease in pollution. I mean, computers are resource intensive, they burn a lot of electricity, and the kind of cognitive power we're talking about. To me, I think there's a long ways to go and a lot of carbon emissions before we get there. So that's the first thing I'll say. And I guess the second thing I'll say is my opponents tonight made the statement that we as humans cannot fathom how an AI of this level could ever act, ever think, how they would choose their actions. But they also laid out a timeline of them deciding to make humans their allies or even their pets. They bring us to space to, put on their beds and pet our heads every night before they go to bed. If we can't fathom what ASI would look like, I don't think we can. I'm not willing to take that gamble and take that chance that they decide humans are useful and they like humans. So I want humans to remain in control. I want us to choose our own path. I want us to fix our planet. We have some issues. We can work on them, and we do that. Humans always do that. I personally believe we get better and better as our generations go. So I am on Team Human. I want the humans to win. I want us to have control. And I want you to all agree with me and vote against the motion that robots should take over the world.
Thank you, Blake. That's a zero one.
Yeah, you can add.
Eager.
Okay, so, I'm on Team Human too. I love humans. Some of my favorite people are humans. And I don't see that AI is necessarily ceding control. It's something that we're going to create as a tool to help us potentially solve problems. Maybe the AI says bye and pisses on off. We're not any worse off than we were before. We don't have to dedicate a lot of resources or get everybody on board to get AI going. And that's, a faster way. And then as far as gambling with our lives, we already are. We're already gambling that we can fix all of the problems facing our planet and get everybody on board and fix that in time. And if we don't, or even if we don't do it in time, we're still looking at massive amounts of human suffering and people dying. I mean, it's already happening. We're already losing people to climate-driven storms and flooding and drought and famine and all of this stuff. And, if the AI turns out to be evil, I just can't see a computer being sadistically evil and torturing us before killing us. It would probably be like an instantaneous thing. I'm going to wipe out this threat and move on. And if it comes right down to it, I would rather we all die instantly than go through, decades or hundreds of years of suffering and eking out an existence and ending up living in the Stone Age again because we messed everything up so bad and killed ourselves off. And so I'm willing to take that gamble because either way, whether it helps us or we all get killed off instantly, the net suffering is going to be less.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sorry.
It needs my fingerprint.
I hit the button.
AI's taking over.
Well, this phone turning itself off is just another example of why we don't need machines running our lives. So I think everyone had a lot of great things to say tonight. I was really pleased with our free discussion. Personally, I thought it was one of the best free discussions we've ever had. I want to thank all of our audience members for coming out tonight in person, as well as tuning in on the live stream. I believe we have secondary live stream set up as well, so thank you to all of you, even though you're ineligible to ask questions. And you know, I don't have a lot to say for a closing statement. I just want to say that we appreciate you. Our side appreciates you and loves you. And the only good robot's a dead robot. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
You might want to hand me your phone then. I think it's alive.
Calling. I'd like to take a minute. You know, again, we've all made some really great points, and I just want to say that it's not so much a question of whether or not we have control over the AI or we'll be able to stop this from happening. For me, it's a question of whether or not it will be a good thing or a bad thing when it does. ASI is coming. If we do not achieve ASI, it means we went extinct before we got there. That's the worst case scenario. If we are able to make it to ASI and it decides that it judges us lacking and decides not to take us on its journey, that's its decision to make. And I have confidence that it will make that decision based on the best available information. You can see through history, the more intelligent members of our species are also the more likely to value our species. The more intelligent members of our species are more likely to be altruistic and work and strive for the betterment of our common man. And if we can apply that to the intelligence more so than the empathy of our species, we can extrapolate from there and say that when we create something bigger, greater, better than us, when we build God, God will love us.
Thank you, Corey. All right, that's our closing statements. Now, the really important part, I was so eager before I jumped the gun, is where we need the votes. We need the votes to determine who wins. This isn't a stuffy old judges. This is the audience who decides who wins and loses. I just posted the link you need to click on to put in your post-debate vote. And that is what we compare to the pre-debate vote. And that determines who wins. And this takes a little time, so while this is happening, I'd like to explain why I think this is such a great way to do it, and that is debates historically or often are judged by like an individual or perhaps a couple individuals, and it's said that the only way you can have a good judge panel is if they're really non-biased. Well, guess what? That's impossible. You couldn't do it. we could have the old access of this, everybody I knew, and thought, well, who wouldn't be biased on any? It can't be done. But with the audience voting mechanism, it measures the bias up front, and then it measures the bias at the end, and whoever shifts it the most is the winner. So it embraces bias, really, because that's just how it is. Anyway, I don't know how much time they generally give.
Real quick plug for the blog Wait But Why. Has a great article about artificial intelligence and talks about all the different arguments for and against it if you wanted to learn
the
more.
Blog Wait But Why.
But Why.
And then it has AI on it.
Yep, just search Wait But Why.
And a lot of great other articles too.
So many. And actually, they're doing a huge symposium on the state of politics in America, and it talks a lot about it's just a great blog. You'll spend hours.
Am I supposed to be playing music right now, Derek? Well, you are. You do it. You need to. It's a good voting music.
Hosted the link. Perfect.
I did.
That might be copyright. That doesn't. My giant back.
Come back, some giant.
I was just listening.
All right, folks, we'll be back in, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. We're just going to have a little pause for everyone to vote, and then we'll tabulate the winner.
All right, I think we're live. I'm not the technology guy, but welcome back. I hope. Right? I pressed the main and then this is easy.
So easy.
All right, so we have our results, by the way. I'm going to try to do a decent job explaining what that's all about. And that is, let's start with the pre-debate. So this is there's a little bit of kind of understanding of all this, but pre-debate, 27% of our audience was undecided, right? Okay.
Wow.
And then 36% was against, and 36% was for. So this is kind of a good
This
setup.
is a true half and half.
Yeah, this is a good setup, I think. Okay, so keep that in mind if everybody remembers that. Now, post-debate, 20% was undecided. Wow. And then for the motion on the side of the robots, 30%, and then against the motion, 50%. Wow. That puts the winners against the motion, as in they gained. They went from 36 to 50%.
All that flattery to the audience.
Yeah.
This is why we need ASI. No.
We'll be the first ones to get assimilated.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
We need to dice this soon.
That was close, Matt. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nice that it was so close for the pre-debate, because like there've been somewhere like one motion has 80% for the beginning and they're pretty much screwed.
Yeah.
I feel like now
Send us off, boom.
Yeah.
all right,
Shout
so-
outs, and then we sign off.
Yeah, you know what? You guys all did a great job. Really fantastic work. I gotta say, thank you so much for hands down for keeping us safe from disease. Thank the Lord.
You can edit the cackle out later.
We'll save it in post.
Is there anything else important I have to say? Well, we love you. You guys are great, and we just have to say goodnight.
Yep. Thanks, audience. We wouldn't do it if it wasn't for you.
Yeah.